On a beautiful November weekend in West Michigan, yes, there's still a lot of attention on college football. It's ascending to its climactic moments of the season. But college basketball is underway, and this afternoon and this weekend, Grand Rapids, Michigan, and specifically Calvin University is at the epicenter of NCAA Division III basketball. It is the Great Lakes Invitational, a two-day extravaganza of 8 schools who are amongst the premium programs across Division III in our country. They all have gathered here in Grand Rapids at Calvin for the Great Lakes Invitational, the 7th annual Great Lakes Invitational. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Bob Sack, and look forward to spending the day with you. In fact, that is the case. 4 games today. The first one, Marietta of Ohio and University of Wisconsin-LaCrosse. And joining me for these first 2, the second game will be Hope and St. John's from Minnesota, is the Director of Athletics here at Calvin, and the guy really responsible for putting this all on today. He's our color analyst as well as event director today. Jim Timmer, it's basketball season, and we got a good way to start it.
Man, it's basketball season. It just seems like last Saturday we're wrapping up football, and boy, we're really excited to host these teams here. It's been an event that we've been part of as a participant at the university, and they asked us to host, and you know, Marietta was one of the original hosts of this, and so we're really excited to see these teams perform all over the country. Should be a great event.
What was the genesis of this event? First of all, 7 years ago, Jim, and then more specifically, how did Calvin arrive at hosting this year?
So I think, you know, the way Division III works up with our budgets and stuff, to try to get that cross-regional competition at a low cost, to get 2 good games on a neutral site, you could convince someone. John Carroll's not going to come up to Calvin and play based on, you know, home and home, but to get neutral site games that you see at Division I. So we said, well, let's do that in Division III. Ryan Winnable, who's the person who's a big Marietta fan, by the way, came up with this concept, and just really excited that this has been able to survive so long. And so you see teams from, we're going to see a team from Minnesota, we're going to see teams from John Hopkins out east, and compare. So now when we get to Selection Sunday, we have some data for both the NCAA committee and for us where we are and where we stand. So great conferences represented here, the Minnesota Conference, the Centennial, the WIAC, which is traditional. I think they've won more basketball championships than any conference, with Wisconsin, Whitewater, and Stevens Point, and Bo Ryan, and Dick Bennett, all from that conference. Couldn't be more excited.
All right, well, the first game is indeed Wisconsin-LaCrosse from the Wisconsin Intercollegiate Athletic Association and the Marietta Pioneers from the Ohio Athletic Conference. Let's go to pay announcer Jason Foss for today's national anthem and the starting lineups.
For the 2024 Great Lakes Invitational, our first matchup today features the University of LaCrosse, Wisconsin Eagles, and the Marietta College Pioneers. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you please rise, and gentlemen, remove your caps as we honor our country with the playing of our national anthem. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's meet the starters from both teams. First, we have the Eagles of Wisconsin-LaCrosse. A 6-foot guard, number 3, Will Furman. A 6'3" guard, number 11, Dustin DeRusso. A 6'8" forward, number 13, JJ Padir. A 6'4" guard, number 15, Sam Greer. And a 6'5" forward, number 44, Mac Sherbert. The Eagles are coached by JT Gritzmacher. And now let's meet the Pioneers of Marietta College. First up, a 6-foot guard, number 1, Jake Singleton. Another guard, a 6'1", number 2, Devion Price. A 6'8" forward, number 5, Frank Wagenfield. A 6'3" guard, number 11, Jack May. And a 6'4" guard, number 24, Jaden Bradshaw. Pioneers are coached by John Vanderwall.
Jim, Wisconsin-LaCrosse, 14-12 last year, 8-6 in their conference. They'll be in the maroon and white against Marietta. 17-10 last year, 10-8 in their conference. The Mercantile Bank keys of the game for this first one today between LaCrosse and Marietta.
I think you're going to see a contrast in styles. If you think Wisconsin, you're going to think really good, solid man-to-man defense, low possession game. Marietta wants to get up and down. They scored 118. You saw they played another WIAC school in a 64-62. So you're going to see that. It's going to be a tempo. It's going to be a tempo battle. If Marietta can get it up.
North Park comes in 2-1 with wins over, LaCrosse comes in 2-1, wins over North Park. And Gustavus Adolphus lost to Nebraska Wesleyan.
Was a really national champion 3-4 years ago. So that's not a bad loss. Marietta comes out man-to-man.
Dustin DeRusso, their leading scorer, doing some heavy work underneath. Marietta comes in 3-0. They have wins over Mount Aloysius, Wisconsin-Eau Claire, and Mary Washington. The Eau Claire game 64-62, 87-82 over Mary Washington. Here's a jumper from the right baseline. The event's first buckets of the game by Dustin DeRusso, the 6'3" junior from Tomo, Wisconsin, has our first points. It's 2-0 LaCrosse.
And yeah, a 1 o'clock start on a Friday is kind of unusual. They're used to play, maybe at 5 o'clock, but they've been preparing for this.
Jake Singleton, they whip it into the corner.
Boy, tough shot.
Three-pointer by Jaden Bradshaw goes down. He comes in averaging 15.5 points a game, and he ties the game. Actually, that first bucket by DeRusso was a 3 as well. He'll try again from the right wing. No, fouls his shot. And a second effort is good by Dustin DeRusso with all 5 LaCrosse points as we begin this basketball game.
Going to play, you see, with Wisconsin-LaCrosse can play physical in the post. I thought that was a travel. No call.
Frank Wagenfeld, the big fella, 6'8", 280-pounder from Clay High in Oregon, backs down his defender and evens the score at 5. Here's a poke away by Jack Main. Pass too far for Bradshaw, flying down the right side, turns it over back to LaCrosse.
We're going to see this all day, Bob, how teams defend the pick and roll. It's the biggest key in basketball now because it's used so prevalently. That time Marietta jumped it, right? So now you got to think how we're going to attack a double team, dribble it out of it, and reverse it.
Sam Grieger is number 15. Topside J.J. Piter. He'll drive to the hole and draw contact from Deovion Price, and that'll send to the line J.J. Piter, 6'7" junior from Neenah, Wisconsin. One of the returning starters for Wisconsin. They returned 4 of 6 players. That's the interesting thing as well, Jim, about these 2 days. Teams are at different points. Some teams return 6, 7 of 8 rotational guys. Other teams return just a couple. everybody trying to figure out who they are, particularly if they don't have many returnees here coming to start this season.
And it's going to be this transition over the next 18 months with no grad transfers, and some schools just backed off at a year early. How do you? There's a discussion on whether it's 5.5 or 5.4. I
thought that first bucket was a 2 from DeRusso in the right baseline. He took that shot from about 12, 14 feet.
Now they got it wrong. It's 5.4. So just there we go. Everybody's settling for a long day. We're correctable errors. We have the National Director of Division III officiating here right behind us. See Coach Vanderstreek across the way, longtime Calvin basketball coach. Now we're tied up at 5.
Piter got them both. And the game knotted at 5, 2 minutes in. Gilvey and Price. Top side to Maine. Left wing is Jake Singleton. The leading scorer is Jaden Bradshaw at the right point. Uses the Wagenfeld screen, splits the defenders. Will stop and pop from 12. Couldn't get it to go. Will Furman clears the glass for LaCrosse. Backdoor cut intended for DeRusso, too far, out of bounds.
So early on here for our viewers, Marietta is going to work a pick and roll horn set. These guys are going to work a little more Princeton with the big man being the key passer up there, and threw it away that time. But
give us a definition of Princeton.
So pull everybody up and try to backdoor people a little bit, spread the floor. Here's the high screen and roll stuff. They're going to initiate their offense. Marietta is this way.
Bradshaw has daylight from the right point. Knocks down the triple.
Boy, he's been aggressive early.
Comes in averaging 15.5 a game. 8 for 19 this year on 3, so he will fire it from downtown. Ryan McGill.
So there's that big man passing up top. Little flare screen.
DeRusso with an opening on the right wing. He drops home his second bucket of the game. It's 8-8.
Comes that high pick and roll.
Good kick out pass by Price. In the corner, he finds Singleton for the triple. Price with a good dish there. He's a River Rouge native.
Yep.
And 11-8, Marietta.
So space,
navy and white.
Big spacing here for LaCrosse, and there's the back door.
Beautiful find underneath.
So Marietta's going to have to figure out when those two wing players come together, are they switching or not? Because right now, two are going with the flare screen and leaving a backdoor layup. DeRusso is going to have a big day if they can't figure that out. And LaCrosse has got to figure out the high screen and roll. Here's the high screen and roll again. They trapped it that time.
Cross switches and traps. Bradshaw with 8 on the clock. Hesitates, now guns from the left elbow. Wagenfeld battles for the boards, but it comes away to Furman. And ahead to Grieger, and he'll reset with DeRusso. Low post is Piter. Nice dish again. Great cuts by LaCrosse. That time Grieger was the recipient of that dish, and it's 12-11.
Coach Vanderwall is going to be talking about that, I'm sure, at the media, about we can't get cut to the basket right in front of your face.
This Marietta team lost 4 out of its top 5 scorers from last year. So again, Vanderwall, Coach John Vanderwall, with a new team starting this campaign. Another 3-ball on the way and knocked home by De'Avian Price. 2 for 7 from threes coming in. And Jim, a lot of points here in the first quarter of this first half. No warm-ups necessary in this one.
I know. Both teams excited to play, and they're locked in offensively.
McGill with downtown jumper from the top side. Wagenfeld clears the glass, and back come.
Another tough 3.
Wouldn't go from Singleton. LaCrosse clears. Furman with his first field goal attempt. That wouldn't go, and bat out of bounds by McGill to Marietta. And we'll take a immediate timeout here with Marietta in a fast-paced first quarter, leading LaCrosse 14-12. So back to Jim Timmer's planning for success here. The keys to the game brought to you by Skipper No Strength Wealth Management, providing the financial clarity, solutions, and service that allow you to focus on what you care about most. Your thoughts here in the first 5 minutes, how it measures up to what you suggested.
Yeah, I think what you're talking about in the lacrosse huddle right now is like, we can't play at this pace. Maybe they do. I don't want, but traditionally they would say we want this score to be 70 and 60. Right now we're on the pace in the high 80s, 90s. Marietta likes the pace. Marietta's got to figure out how they want to defend some of this stuff away from the ball. So think about this. Lacrosse is moving a little bit more from away from the ball. Marietta a little bit on the ball. So great start to this is all going to be this way.
Marietta 5 of 8 from the floor. LaCrosse 5 of 11.
Yep. If you're wondering, both teams were had shoot around yesterday, practice on the court, had shoot around this morning. So it's not their first time seeing the court.
John Vanderwall, a graduate of Albion College.
Absolutely.
And a native of Cadillac. So
absolutely. Has done a tremendous job down there. If you knew Marietta College basketball before John and after John, they do not look the same. And a lot of credit goes to his hard work. And well connected back here in the MIAA. I think Coach Vanderstreet, who stood up there, recruited John here to play at Calvin, who's a good player at Albion.
Landry Pilata now into the game for Marietta. He wears number 14. Darius Carden, number 10, also into the lineup for the Pioneers. Danny Flood, number 0.
Trying to get that high-low.
They find Wagenfeld down low. Good position, and a little baby hook off the glass from the right post.
Oh, he's a nice player.
Averaging 14 points a game, shooting 56% from the field, Jim. So they got him right where they wanted him there in the low blocks. 16-12 Pioneers. Right point 3 negated on the effort by Griffin Ginder. Whistle and a foul on Chris Green. Now into the game for Wisconsin. Push off underneath.
It hasn't been an overly physical game. I think the officials have done a nice job. I think LaCrosse's pressure is just to kind of slow them down. They're not trying to create a turnover there, but they don't want to defend the whole play clock.
Right side Singleton.
High screen and roll up top, high low. There it is.
Wagenfeld with a good dump underneath, and the bucket goes by Landry Pilata. Talk about that high-low. Mentioned Wagenfeld, 56% from the field this year. Pilata was 70%. So they're doing what they want to do, get the two big fellows in good position to receive the pass and drop it home.
Yep, so they're going high screen and roll the person to the basket, pop the other post up, and see if they can get a mismatch, and they've done a nice job of that. Both teams subbing very liberally here early.
Correction, now Ryan McGill into the game for Marietta. The reference to McGill earlier actually should have been Max Siebert, whereas 44 for LaCrosse. Looking for the three-point play.
Oh, he banked it in.
And getting it is Landry Pilata. He averages just 16 minutes a game, but 11 points a game. So he is a high efficient guy off the bench for Marietta. Running into traffic is Carter Thomas. He survives that scuffle, sends it out to Torrin Hanna.
That was, I think, a big shot for LaCrosse. It felt like there was a little momentum and pace going Marietta's way.
Jumper cleared there by Hanna, the senior from Mount Horeb High School in LaCrosse. Left side, Grieger probes and draws contact. And he'll get to the free throw line. Grieger, a 6'4" sophomore from Randolph, Wisconsin, averaging 12.5 points a game.
You hear it over and over, right? We're a little older, Bob. I'm not saying you are, but it's a 3-point in the paint game. We've seen a couple mid-range, but it's those paint touches, whether you get them from post to post or a drive, that are breaking defenses down. And you see, we'll look at the stats. Is it a 50-50 ratio of how many threes you take versus paint touches?
Jim, you think that's a result of all the analytics over the years?
Absolutely.
Studying where the best chance for points come from and highest return.
Yep, points per possession is such a big thing that, Dean Smith was talking about that, but good tip away by LaCrosse.
3-ball on the way and drained by Carter Thomas.
19-12 on an 8-0 run. Gets it right back in the game. 2 3-pointers, right? I mean, that's that analytics. They're like, hey, we just cashed in.
Topside McGill. Leaves for Flood, the junior point guard from Valley City, Ohio. Underneath, Pilata with some good footwork. Uses the glass and drops it home.
Not the same position, but 11 points in 16 minutes is Vinnie Johnson-like. That's an old reference.
He's got 5. Wagenfeld has 4, so the post guys doing their job. Nice back cut again on a beautiful crease by Torin Hanna. He'll draw the foul on Jack Main and go to the line. Time to give you a little bit of information. Those of you watching are across the country today, either in Wisconsin or Ohio or wherever, give you a chance to get to know the tournament hosts today, Calvin University, and tell you that enrollment at Calvin University here in 2024-25 continues to climb. For the second straight year, Calvin is experiencing double-digit percentage uptick in its first-year class. The 1,200 new students represent undergrad and grad learners from dozens of states and 46 countries around the world. Learn more by discovering why Calvin is in demand at calvin.edu/visit. Jim, quick question about this event again. How are the teams selected? You got 8 schools here today.
So it's a little bit of a mixture, right? So the tournament director, they look for teams that have those openings, but you have to have a certain level of play, because I think the teams that are signing up are expecting good cross-regional good opponents. So I think it's selected a year out, and from a cross-section of the biggest conferences, the WIAC, the OAC, the MIAA, and then they have to have the opening in their schedule.
11.
So mainly, you're going to see a lot of teams that are Great Lakes, Wisconsin, Ohio, OAC, MIAA, and then a few, the Emorys from Atlanta, and they pull a few in from there. So it's this kind of combination, the large part from the Great Lakes, because of good cost and travel.
Knotted at 21, approaching the halfway point of the first half. Darius Carden.
Now LaCrosse looks like they're trying to front the post a little bit more, which also makes them susceptible at high-low.
Jack Main working that low left block. Good spin move on Grieger, but couldn't get it to go. And foul will go
on 10
on Marietta. That is Darius Carden. DeRusso leads all scorers from LaCrosse with 9. Jaden Bradshaw pacing the Pioneers with 6.
Marietta shooting 66% halfway through and 54 by LaCrosse. So we have seen a lot of shots go in.
Grieger uses that high ball screen. Gets a step on Singleton. Now turns and floats it in over the top.
Tough finish right there.
Sam Grieger averaging 12.5 points a game.
One thing, all these teams, no one's going to be intimidated by competition. These guys are playing the best of the best in their conferences. And so it will be some heavyweight matchups, I'll tell you that.
Bradshaw pump fake, now gun from just off the free throw line. No, but there's Pilata with the rebound. Behind the back pass, looking for Maine, had it stolen away.
Transition three.
LaCrosse takes advantage of it with a Julian Hodges triple from the left corner.
It's a 14-1 run right now, right? It was 19 or 20 to 12 or 19 to 12, and now it's 26-21. So I'm not great at math, but it's a lot for LaCrosse and a little for Marietta.
Danny Flood probes, now falls away from the free throw line, grabs his own rebound. Kicks it right corner to Bradshaw, and he splashes down a three-pointer. That is our 9th three-pointer, Jim, and we've only played 1/4 of this game. Both teams red hot to start.
Another one.
Beautiful, high arcing delivery from Sam Grieger.
They even, the announcers jinx. They just didn't care, knocked another one down.
10 three-pointers to start this game.
If you would have told LaCrosse it was going to be 29-24 through 11 minutes, I don't still think that, but right now they're making it.
JT Gritzmacher, the head coach at LaCrosse in his 2nd season. Grad of the University of Wisconsin system from Whitewater.
The Warhawks.
Topside jumper too strong by Wagenfeld. Steps outside, does the big fella on that attempt. Singleton to use the ball screen. Stop and pop from 16. Too long, and Wagenfeld taps it out of bounds to LaCrosse. 8:46 to go. The Eagles by 5. Coach Gritzmacher came over to LaCrosse from Bryant and Stratton Junior College, where he was head coach there for the last 3 years. Jack Maine will get called for that reach. He knocked it away from Grieger. Common foul, out of bounds.
Yep.
Interestingly, too, both Julian Hodges, who just sank that long three, and Carter Thomas transfers from Bryant and Stratton. So the coach bringing a couple of his former players over to LaCrosse.
It works. Indiana University football would tell you it works.
That's right.
Familiarity with the coach is really important. They actually help you get everybody else ingrained in the system.
High lob. That's DeRusso. Has been quiet since his early 9.
Yeah.
Off the mark, Max Siebert can't hit from the left point. And here come the Pioneers, down by 5. Underneath Pilata with good position, but they're going to call him with a push-off.
Offensive push with that cleared space.
Jim, I like the officiating so far.
Done a nice job. I think we're going to see
flow
some
to the game.
Yep. We're going to see some really, and you know what? They like good games too. Officials like it when it's very highly concentrated, good basketball. It's easier to officiate almost. Now, you got to make some high pressure calls.
Knifing his way into the lane and
is
softly dropping through that jumper is Sam Grieger. He now has 11 points to lead all scorers.
Probably in the last 4 minutes or so. DeRusso and him accounting for almost 70% of their points.
Singleton turned away at the baseline, walled off nicely by that Eagles defense. Back to Price.
We're going to get a 3-second call in there, but
7 on the clock. Pilata finds his way to the middle of the lane, draws contact as he elevated for the jump shot. That'll go on Chris Green. 2 shots for Landry Pilata.
There's your media timeout.
Here's the Great Lakes Invitational schedule, brought to you by NAI Wasinski of West Michigan, West Michigan's largest independently owned commercial real estate firm. After this one, Jim and I will stay with you for St. John's from Minnesota. They come to West Michigan to take on the other team with close proximity to Grand Rapids. That's Hope College. That'll tip at 3. Little break before the evening session, and then it's the Battle of the Johns. John Carroll and Johns Hopkins at 5:30. And the nightcap tonight, Emory against the host Calvin Knights around 7:30. Tomorrow, 1 o'clock, Hope meets Marietta. 3 o'clock, Johns Hopkins and LaCrosse match up. 5:30, it's John Carroll and Emory. And the nightcap again is the host Calvin Knights, this time against St. John's. Today's first half brought to you by Skipper No Stink Wealth Management, partnering with you to help unlock financial potential and build your legacy. 7:37 to go here in the first half. 31-24. LaCrosse trailed at one point, 19-12. They've rattled off an impressive run here of 18-6. So that was at the second media timeout, Jim. So that's over the last 4.5 minutes. They have just shot lights out.
Yeah, they're up to 61%, 18 of 11. And in Marietta, who's shooting at 63%, is down to 50%. I like to point out to the fans, too, at home, right? Marietta's a little unusual in that they're playing two post players right now. They didn't start that way, but with, working that high-low, and that's a different matchup where LaCrosse has defended it well enough.
Landry Puata, the 6'9" senior out of West Virginia. That's why I saw a West Virginia license plate in the parking lot when I came in.
And if you're in Marietta, you can hit a good drive and a wedge, and you're in West Virginia.
I'd probably need a drive and a 5-iron, Jim.
Okay.
But using the ball screen and drilling the three is Will Furman. He's their highest volume three-point shooter, struggling a little bit this year, just 4 of 17 before he knocked that one down. Bradshaw says hello to the passing defender, and he'll launch an errant three from the left corner. Out of bounds, stays with Marietta.
LaCrosse played here last year. They played Calvin in just a single game, so this is their second trip to Bernard Arena. It's Marietta's first, and I can remember. And sometimes that, it's a little bigger arena than what we're used to playing in, but it has not affected the shooting, I'll tell you that.
You're watching online from Ohio or Wisconsin, it's Van Noort Arena that Jim just mentioned. Seats 4,700 fans, about 4,700 fans, and for a Hope Calvin rivalry can maybe crack that fire code a little bit, around 5,000. Yeah. But you don't tell anybody, do you?
Yeah, absolutely no. We'll stick with 47-42. That's the number, and I'm sticking to it.
Beautiful facility, built in 2009. 15 years old.
Oh. Down
by 9, the biggest margin of the game. Wagenfeld has it batted away, and into the front court comes LaCrosse, looking to extend their 22-6 run. They'll do so on a left wing beauty by Torrin Hanna. Senior from Mount Horeb makes it 37-25 with 6.5 to play here in the first half. How about this run?
Wow. I mean,
25-6 in the last 6 minutes.
4 or 5 threes in that span, too.
LaCrosse now 7 of 11 from downtown. Tough defense on the interior. Gives it back to the Eagles.
It is contagious for LaCrosse right now. Everyone's making it. Look at this.
Another one, this time by Carter Thomas. A 38% three-point shooter. And John Vanderwall says, what in the world's going on? He's got to take a timeout here and talk it over. 40-25 with 6 minutes to go.
Well, I've probably seen 80% of the games played in this arena on the men's side. I have never seen a 7-minute stretch where so many shots, three-point shots went in. And by multiple people. It's not, we've had it where one person gets hot, but right now, LaCrosse is on fire.
Another chance for you to get to know the tournament host, Calvin University. This month in Calvin Athletics history, presented by Applied Innovation, highlights the 2010 Calvin women's volleyball team that won a share of the conference regular season and later captured its first ever national title. That 2010 Calvin's women's volleyball team, led by head coach Amber Warners, was 32-4 overall. And it was their first of 3 national championships, part of the outstanding athletic excellence and tradition here at Calvin University. This month in Calvin Athletics history is presented by Applied Innovation, connecting alums throughout the country for 35 years. 40-25, LaCrosse in command right now after blowing open what was a tight first half for the first 10 minutes. Good take all the way to the bucket is Yavian Price. That's his first point of the game. Got to get him on track. Check that, he does have a three-pointer earlier. It's been a while since he scored. To the hole. Off balance is Griffin Ginder. He's right there for the foul, and he gets into the scoring column.
So the first problem Marietta's got to solve is how they're going to stop this LaCrosse attack right now.
Price with a good take and dishes to Pilata, who's really been their bright spot, Jim, in the first half.
Absolutely. He lived up to his billing as a high efficiency minutes per played scorer.
Averages 11 points per game, 42-29, 5 to go. Nice drive again by Grieger. He has been getting just about anything he wants.
Absolutely. And left-handed, and he came back to his right that time.
He now has 13 to lead all scorers. Bradshaw's been quiet, had a quick 9, but 24 in white. It's been stifled since then. Pilata at the right elbow.
Yeah.
Walled off on a good defensive stand by Torin Hanna. Turns it over. Wholesale substitutions here for the Eagles. They'll insert J.J. Piter. He's their leading scorer, and he's been quiet here in the first half. Just one bucket for Piter. That gives you a sense of the balance by the Eagles. Grieger.
Well, they missed one.
They missed, finally. Torin Hanna hits the flange on that three. And on the rebound, a foul.
I think every Marietta player took a sigh of relief. They're like, if that goes in, man. Proud athletic traditions in these conferences. The OAC, John Carroll was ranked number 2. We'll see them later on today in the country last year. Marietta battled them in the OAC, and of course, Wisconsin Platteville lost to Trine from the MIAA, who won the national championship in the tournament. So high expectations from these conferences as well. I thought he traveled.
Bradshaw gets loose down that right side and is able to up and under on DeRusso.
I think Coach Vanderwall said that one last time out, we got to get to the basket. They've had 3 drives since then, and trying to not trade 3-pointers with a team that's making every one of them.
Left baseline, Piter then kicks it out to the right point, and DeRusso
on cue
splashes down an arcing 3 to make it 47-31 with 3:40 to go in the first half.
We'll have to ask Jeff Phoebus what the arena record is for made threes.
14 between the teams in the first half. Price rims out his attempt from the left wing. And now that 16-point lead can be ballooned by LaCrosse.
We can get to the line now. We might have one more media, right?
One more media and one more foul. Next foul is the bonus for both teams. Check that. That's right. Marietta picks up their 7th. Immediate timeout, 47-31 LaCrosse. More about the tournament host, Calvin University, telling you that a college education preparing you not only for your first job, but to thrive through your entire life is of great value. Calvin offers that to its students and has come up with a number of ways to help all families make college more affordable. 100% of incoming Calvin students receive financial aid. Discover the many scholarships and grants you have access to at calvin.edu. Just search financial aid.
Well, it's a different pace in football, isn't it? You're doing great.
It is.
It's been an enjoyable first 16, 17 minutes. And
hey, I haven't called a press a blitz yet.
No, you didn't.
I haven't called a quick out.
No, I tell you,
kick out a curl or a quick out. So we're doing okay.
We're doing all right. You always think of the guys like Jim Nance. He does the Masters, the Super Bowl, and the NCAA tournament Final Four. In his heyday, in about a 10-day span. I don't know. He keeps it all straight, but it's good to be inside. It's
talking about football. The D3 playoffs get underway tomorrow. The 40-team field with a number of teams having a bye week.
Yep.
This Saturday, and the full playoff field will resume next Saturday, Thanksgiving weekend.
Well, the next game here, Hope's 10-0 and St. John's is 10-0 in football. St. John's one of the byes. The Johnnies of traditional power up there in Minnesota. Minnesota got 2 teams in.
Bethel's the other one, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Bethel's only 2 losses for St. John's, and they're one of the few 2-loss teams in.
So how they play twice in one season?
They do a championship game, much like some of the Division Ones, and they pay, 1 plays 2, 3 plays 4 as their games. So
sort of a crossover week as Thomas hits both free throws. Crossover in the final week of the season.
Correct.
18-point lead for LaCrosse, the biggest margin of the game. They've had an impressive dash here in the latter part of the first half. But Jim, I get the feeling this one's long from over, though, don't you? I mean,
Marietta's known for coming back. I got some great Marietta stories being down 15-16.
Sawyer Thompson, number 12, into the lineup for the Pioneers. Bradshaw threw it away on the run, and the kick out to Thomas. Right wing three, off the front of the iron, controlled by Pilata. Inside of 3 minutes. Marietta's given up 72, 62, and 82 points. That's a 72-point average. They've given 49 here in the first half.
I don't think they're disappointed in the pace. I just think they're disappointed that they can't get LaCrosse to miss. I think, if I'm John Vanderwall, I'm trying to encourage my guys. They're not going to shoot it like this. They're not going to shoot it like this. It's getting tougher and tougher to convince his team as we've gone through almost a whole half.
Where are we at? In the corner? Hey.
Bradshaw long on that shot. He's hit his first 2 since then. Just added 1, or rather his first 3, then just had it once. He's 4 for 9. Got to get him going for the Pioneers. He'll work the left side of the lane, kick it back out to Wagenfeld, who finds Sawyer in the right wing, and Sawyer Thompson jams it against the board in the flange.
Good rotation by LaCrosse there, right? We heard John Vanderwall say, kick it back, and right away LaCrosse rotated again, got a hand up on that shot. Jump ball will stay here, but the shot clock is like an offensive rebound, resets to 20.
Two and 12 to play here in the first half. It was 19-12 Marietta at 1 point if you just joined us. Since then, it has been a flurry of threes for LaCrosse as Jake Bradshaw finds an opening on that right baseline. And
if you're Marietta, could you get this under 10 maybe? Or around 10? They would take that, I think.
Thomas, top side to an open DeRusso.
They missed their last 3.
They control the offensive boards, though, and find eventually an open 3 for Torrin Hanna. He has been just outstanding here. He's coming off the bench. 8 points for Torrin Hanna. And it's a 19-point lead with 90 seconds to go in the first half. Pilata's gone most of the way here in the second half since John Vanderwall inserted him into the game.
They do have a height advantage in there. There's the high-low. They get a little jump shot there.
Wagenfeld from the right elbow. Wouldn't go. And coming away with it is Sam Grieger.
They're searching out threes right now.
Good drive by Thomas. Drew contact on DeAuvian Price. And he'll go to the stripe for a pair. 68 seconds to go in the first half.
If offenses are shooting threes and layups as their main objective, I think defensively, you're like, we're going to take one of those away. And right now, Marietta's haven't been able to take either the layup or the drive or the back cut or the 3 away. Now, part of that is I think LaCrosse is really hot.
On the other side of that coin, Jim, how about LaCrosse's defensive effort? Danny Flood, who just checks into the game here for Marietta, comes in 11 of 17 from beyond the arc this year. Hasn't had a shot yet from downtown.
Yep.
So good coaching and court awareness. Know who your opponent is, and LaCrosse is doing that here in the first half. Thomas got them both. He now has 14. Inside of a minute, 21-point margin. Flood trying to shake loose from Thomas, can't do it. Finds Wagenfeld underneath, pounds his way inside. Couldn't get it to drop, but rebound tipped back out. Controlled by Thompson.
Nice.
And Danny Flood, as he made that move, comes up grimacing Torrin Hanna couldn't get it to go, but Dustin DeRusso was there for the foul slam. And adding insult to injury there after that.
Yeah, try to make it move, but I don't know if it was an ankle or a hip.
It's like his hip. He's walking very gingerly. He being Danny Flood. Averages 12 points a game off the bench.
A number of these teams travel with athletic trainers, but Jess Rose, our athletic trainer, is there on the spot.
Shot clock with about a 1 second differential from the game clock. Gavi and Price.
I think they're going to take the last shot and get in the. You know, it's not over yet. You got 20 minutes to play. You got to make some adjustments defensively and hope the halftime cools them down a little bit.
Last shot time for Price all the way to the hole. Good change of hands at the bucket. Couldn't get it to go. Run out to Grieger. He'll fire off the glass. No, and that's the way the first half ends. 56-33. Wisconsin-La-Crosse puts up an impressive offensive show here in the first half. And our first half stats show the Eagles blistering the nets at 59%. Just 43% for the Pioneers of Marietta. The big story, though, 10 of 18 from three-point land for La-Crosse. That has propelled them, and they've also got to the rack too, though, Jim. They're 8 out of 10 from the free throw line, so they're doing it at the two levels.
Yeah.
We talked about it at the outset, the importance of scoring at the first and third level, and they're doing both.
Right, and I think that's the biggest adjustment that the Marietta Pioneers are going to have to do talk about halftime. Like, how are we going to defend? Because it doesn't really matter unless they can get a number of stops here to start the second half to get back into this.
Leading scorers individually in this one for La-Crosse. It is a balanced attack. Dustin DeRusso has 14. He really got him going with a quick 8 to start the game. Grieger has 13, then 10 apiece for Carter Thomas and Torrin Hanna. On the rebounding side for La-Crosse, it is 5 from DeRusso and 5 assists from Piters. He's handled the floor well. For Marietta, 13 from Jaden Bradshaw. He leads the Pioneers. 8 from Pilata off the bench. All right, we'll step aside. Let you enjoy these messages here at halftime. 56-33 the break. Back to you 90 seconds before the start of the second half. You're watching the Great Lakes Invitational from Calvin University in Grand Rapids on the Calvin Sports Network.
Where will the next revolutionary idea come from? That next breakthrough in scientific research? At Calvin University, you can dream bigger, think deeper, aim higher. Our world-class faculty push students to keep asking hard questions and never settle for the status quo. Become part of a university that challenges students to go beyond as Christ's agents of renewal in the world. Calvin University, go beyond.
Other financial institutions may do a couple things well, but in our experience over the past decade, Lake Michigan Credit Union has done all of the things well.
LMCU has been there for every stage of my life.
I don't think I'd be in the same position if it wasn't connected to LMCU.
I know where my money is. I know what I can spend. I know what I'm able to do.
And that's an amazing experience to have. In terms of customer service, LMCU is top-notch. You're not going to find a better place to bank.
Applied Innovation is excited to celebrate more than 35 years of helping our customers grow. Starting as a printer, copier, and fax dealer, Applied has evolved into a complete office technology provider to include managed IT services and workflow automation.
What sets Applied apart is really our why. That's at our core, a passion for service, for people, for business. If we're at service to one another, then we can take great care of the customer. Happy people take great care of customers, and we just happen to sell technology.
It started with one survivor, one person that I wanted to help. Her name is Delyn, but she had a debt issue that we had to resolve. And working with pro bono legal counsel, we were able to do that. I saw the difference that it made in her life. And I thought, if she has these kinds of legal needs, certainly other survivors do as well. My name is Nate Napper. I'm a 2008 graduate of Calvin University, and I'm currently a special agent with the FBI. I'm also an attorney, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Joseph Project. I'm of the opinion that there is no reason why every single human trafficking survivor in need of legal services shouldn't be given those services free of charge. And the idea was to connect them with pro bono legal help so that they could resolve that legal collateral damage and move forward into a brighter future. And I'm happy to say that we've connected with over 300 survivors of human trafficking. I'll always remember the moment that I learned that one of our survivors, Leslie, had been pardoned by Governor Gretchen Whitmer of all past crimes associated with her trafficking. Michigan's first ever survivor of trafficking to be pardoned by a sitting governor. Criminal charges cleared. Working as a collaborative team, every single charge was resolved. Those are the moments that stick with me. And usually, it's funny, it always has to do with others. It usually has nothing to do with me. And I think that's, another point where Jesus was right all along. That was a beautiful result. And it reminded me, that I've always resonated with the idea that we could be agents of renewal, right? That we could work and cooperate alongside the vision that God has for the world, so that we can usher in the kingdom of God in some ways right here, right now, with the people that we are immediately surrounded by if we're just willing to follow him in obedience. I love that notion. So it's nice, right, to be recognized. I appreciate it, certainly. I give the credit and I give the praise to God. And I would be remiss if I didn't talk about my parents and how I would say the deep level of sacrifice that they made. It's a lot. I just appreciate the fact that they lay some of their own dreams down to make sure that I could live mine. You're willing to submit to his path in obedience, dream the dreams that he would have you enact for the world. I think that you'll go places that you would never imagine going.
Today's broadcast is sponsored by Capital and Risk Management Services. Since 1987, Capital and Risk Management Services has supported Knight Nation's financial and risk management needs with strategic solutions for a secure tomorrow. Reach out to Russ Fausing today at 312-458-4523.
Part of grad school would be the connections that you make, not only with your cohort, but with the professors as well.
I felt very supported, and I don't feel alone in the program.
I just really feel like each individual in the program gets a relationship with the professors in a different way that's meaningful to them and is more geared to them.
I'm a grad student at Calvin University. Yay!
This year has definitely changed my world. I'm making an impact here. It feels good to know every day that I'm growing in my abilities that I love, which is film, and I'm also growing as a believer in faith.
I'm really thankful that I was able to do work in my field during school, at school, and that has given me the confidence to move forward with doing my own independent work and getting to put my foot in that door before I even graduate. I don't think I would have found elsewhere.
At Calvin, our faith in God and pursuit of excellence drives us. Our new soccer stadium reflects that commitment, offering a premier space for our student athletes to compete on and off the field. Whether you're an athlete, a summer camper, or a spectator, join our community of Knights at Calvin University.
Mosquitoes outnumber humans by like 1,000,000 to 1. So who are you giving your blood to? The humans or the mosquitoes? It's us versus them. And I think they're winning. So donate blood with Versity Blood Center of Michigan today.
Other financial institutions may do a couple things well, but in our experience over the past decade, Lake Michigan Credit Union has done all of the things well.
LMCU has been there for every stage of my life.
I don't think I'd be in the same position if it wasn't connected to LMCU.
I know where my money is. I know what I can spend. I know what I'm able to do.
And that's an amazing experience to have. In terms of customer service, LMCU is top-notch. You're not going to find a better place to bank.
Mosquitoes outnumber humans by like 1,000,000 to 1. So who are you giving your blood to? The humans or the mosquitoes? It's us versus them. And I think they're winning. So donate blood with Versity Blood Center of Michigan today.
Today's broadcast is sponsored by Capital and Risk Management Services. Since 1987, Capital and Risk Management Services has supported Knight Nation's financial and risk management needs with strategic solutions for a secure tomorrow. Reach out to Russ Fausing today at 312-458-4523.
My life hasn't been easy. I've survived many traumas, and I think my faith journey reflects that. At this point, I've come to believe that to know Christ is to know suffering. It was in my deepest, darkest moments of my life that I think I was able to glimpse a little bit of God. What drives my passion and commitment to making music as accessible to as many people as possible in Indonesia is a very personal experience which unfolded throughout the time that I was at Calvin. During the 4 years that I was there, I was struggling with an eating disorder. I was stuck in this cycle that I couldn't get out of, and I hated how I looked. I hated my body. Now, in my junior and senior year, I started to become more focused in my piano studies, thanks to the urgings of my piano professor at that time, Professor Haisuk Kim. I was practicing maybe 4 to 6 hours a day. It was very intense. I realized that being in such an intensive, immersive musical experience made me happy, and it gave me more confidence in myself and in my voice. I felt that my mental health and well-being was healing, and it was daily getting stronger. Because of that very personal experience, I know that music can change lives. The most personally rewarding venture for me is starting the first professional symphony orchestra in the city of Bandung. The first person I contacted was Robert Nordling, who was my conducting professor at Calvin College, and I wanted to see if he was willing to be involved in this crazy initiative. He responded with like capital letters, yes, exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. And since then, he's been an amazingly solid partner. In many ways, the Bandung Philharmonic was a unique contribution to musical opportunities in Indonesia because from day one, it was conceived with an international standard musical and artistic experience in mind. I'm currently a community manager at House of Piano Jakarta, which is the exclusive dealer of Steinway & Sons in Indonesia. So this strategic position widens my circle of impact, and I am now creating programs that affect so many young pianists all throughout the country. Redeeming every square inch for me now means creating great music programs on a strategic level that impacts many people, whether they are young musicians, young pianists, adult musicians, teachers, or even people in the audience. As we know, this happens one person, one heart, and one precious moment at a time.
Applied Innovation is excited to celebrate more than 35 years of helping our customers grow. Starting as a printer, copier, and fax dealer, Applied has evolved into a complete office technology provider to include managed IT services and workflow automation.
We create an environment here at Applied that is such a wonderful one that when one of our employees gets in front of you, it just permeates from them how much they enjoy their work. And when somebody really enjoys their work, the service delivery that you get is going to be an amazing experience.
This is the Gainey Track and Field Complex. There are innovative features that set Calvin's facilities apart from other universities. First, the space joins a small number of dedicated track and field facilities in NCAA Division III. This means that we don't share with football, lacrosse, soccer, any other team. Our throwing facility is adjacent to the main track. Everything is right here in one location. It's all about track and field all the time.
I love the NABE Scholarship Program because I just love how personal these scholarships are for the alumni and for the students. Being a student who grew up in foster care and then getting a scholarship for students who were in foster care and being able to connect with that donor and see the love and the passion that they have for me and being able to resonate with me and what I've gone through God opened doors that I didn't even know were there. I'm at Calvin, and my legacy is starting here.
Welcome back to Calvin University. Halftime of the first game, the first of 8 games here at the Great Lakes Invitational. 4 today, 4 tomorrow. And we're at halftime of the inaugural of the 8. Halftime it is Marietta and LaCrosse doing battle, and LaCrosse has a 56-33 lead. It is the 7th Great Lakes Invitational, continuing the tradition of bringing together D3's best programs to arguably the level's best venue. Hosting this event at the home of one of D3's most successful programs like Calvin is perfectly fitting for the crown jewel of the D3 basketball calendar. Last year, Jim, it was at Wittenberg. Wabash, Marietta, Worcester, Hope, and Marietta have been the sites. Bob Sack with you, alongside Jim Timmer, the Director of Athletics here at Calvin, after the first half that saw LaCrosse blister the nets at a torrid 3-point shooting rate, Jim, and can they keep that up in the second half? That's the question.
It's interesting. At halftime, I spent some time with Coach Vanderstreek, the 25-year coach here, and he said, boy, would you ever think a LaCrosse team would shoot 18 threes? And he said, no. He said, I thought it would be more the opposite. And while they got hot and they stayed with it, what's really interesting for Marietta, this first 5 minutes is going to tell you a lot, right? Maybe some of the adjustments, and some of the adjustments might have been just like play harder. But it's going to be interesting. And Coach Vanderstreek also mentioned to me, too, we're like the balance. It wasn't one guy.
56-33. Jim referring to Kevin Vanderstreek, the former coach at Calvin, has a national championship banner in this building from 2000. We start the second half. Wisconsin with the basketball. It's Dustin DeRusso, 11, who'll float that one in the lane. No, and Frank Wagenfeld, the big 6'8", 280-pound center for Marietta, snares the rebound. Quickly head to Ovian Price, coast to coast, and he lays it in. So for the LaCrosse Eagles, DeRusso's number 11. Sam Grieger had a great first half with an output of 14 points, number 15. 44 is Ryan McGill, who just dropped that bucket through the hoop, and he'll go to the line for 2. He's out there with Will Furman, number 3, and J.J. Piter, number 13, who had 5 assists in that first half. For Marietta, they'll start Jake Singleton, he's number 1. Frank Wagenfeld is number 5. Ovian Price, number 2. Jaden Bradshaw, 24, and Jack Main, 11. Those are your 5. Same 5 to start of the game. Start here in the second half. Minute gone, still a 23-point margin. That's what we had at halftime. Biggest lead for Marietta was 7, as Frank Wagenfeld can't hit from the top side. Back to Price, he'll shake and bake and deliver from the free throw line. No, and skying for the rebound is J.J. Piter, 6'7" junior.
Both teams back in their man-to-man.
Piter has it knocked away by Bradshaw, but recovers. Left wing 3 on the way by Will Furman. He's their best 3-point shooter coming into the game. He's been just one of many that have drained them all afternoon.
Boy, and his shot is repeatable. It looks a great arc. Doesn't look like it's ever going to miss.
Right side Price. Wagenfeld.
I tell you, that timeout at 19-12, we were talking a lot about Marietta's high-low game. The screen and roll, get the roll guy, pop the post. They've done a good job, either by really defending the passer to making it tough to pass, or shoving that guy under the basket.
Jaden Bradshaw will step back from the left point. Can deliver on that three-point effort and controlled by LaCrosse.
We haven't talked much about rebounding and turnovers. It's been pretty clean that way. Not a lot of missed shots, of course.
18-16. LaCrosse holds the rebounding edge right now. Great back door. Beautiful feed from Hyder. He found a cutting Torin Hanna. Now into the game. Lays it in, and it's a 28-point margin.
Good rotation again by LaCrosse. But they were caught little to big.
Good interior pass from Wagenfeld. Finds Jack Main, the 6'3" senior from Winter Garden, Florida, for the easy lay-in. Back the other way. Furman drives, can't finish. Wagenfeld controls the boards. Open from the right point for the triple try is Yavian Price. No, but Bradshaw controls the rebound. Frank to the hole, couldn't get the drop, and back the other way. On the move is DeRusso, and he drew contact. He'll go to the line with 16:42 to go in the second half.
You saw it on both ends there, both defensive ends, that volleyball jump that has become so popular in college basketball, right? We don't talk about the block and charge. It's just going straight up, and you have the principal verticality to go. It's been tougher to score around the basket.
Dustin DeRusso at the free throw line, averaged 13 points a game last year.
I was going to check at halftime. We had Reese DeRusso was, I think his sister was our assistant volleyball coach. But I know there's some relationship up there, and so I'm sure Reese will text me if she's watching if I got that wrong.
Comes into the game shooting 56% at 21 points, and the Eagles win over North Park to open the season.
Downtown Chicago.
Between the circles, it's good to see Danny Flood back in the lineup after that hip injury earlier in the game. Bradshaw fakes the three, splits the defenders, couldn't finish. Furman controls the pinball.
Transition three.
DeRusso stopping and popping from the right wing, and it's a 30-point margin.
Boy, they've got him in transition. They got him in half court.
18 points for Dustin DeRusso. Good strong move by Frank Wagenfeld. Underneath, and he lays it in.
LaCrosse would be happy to trade 3 for 2.
Chris Green, number 5, back in the lineup for LaCrosse. Just three-pointer by Furman is short.
Ooh.
But they're going to get Darius Carden on that foul. And is that on the shot, Jim?
Yeah. He said, he told John, he said, you got him. You got him on his...
D3 Datacast is hosted and written by Matt and Zach Snyder. By the way, a couple of Calvin alums. Yep. They are graduates from Calvin and avid followers of Division III basketball. Be sure to check it out. It's a show that takes a lighthearted approach to D3 basketball and typically involves data and discussions on efficiency ratings, regional rankings, NCAA tournament selections, and computer predictions of big games. See it all at d3datacast.com. You and I were talking about that earlier in the week, just the way the selection process for the NCAA tournament has changed over the years.
We just gave them the tour of the facilities here this morning, the Snyder brothers, both, I think, engineering graduates, and they've modeled a bunch of different things. And we were just talking about the football playoffs, and they're saying, look, if you're 9-1, you're in. If you're not in, you're an outlier. 8-2, you're, it didn't matter who you beat. 10-0, you're in. And so very interesting. He says if you're in and not, and has 2 losses, and so they've mathematically figured it out. They're still working on trying to figure out the basketball, what they call the dials for the MPI, and they find it very interesting. Teams will call them and talk about, hey, who should I be scheduling? And they were one of the ones that were really encouraging teams to do it in the invite.
Will Furman, the 6-foot senior from Reedsburg High School in Wisconsin.
So, for example, like Alma in football, who we saw a really good performance in. They were the second team out. They lose 35-28. If they would have won that one, boom, they're in.
to Wisconsin. Was it
River Falls?
River Falls, first game of the year.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
so do you get in a sense, was that a penalty on Elma for scheduling too tough?
Where before, when it was kind of the smoke-filled room, that might have got you in.
Because you knew how good
exactly.
River Falls was.
And so that is, they're trying to get it where you just literally can take the human element out. And I still think you got to have the human element in there. That's just my personal opinion.
Good post-up move in the low blocks from Frank Wagenfeld. Trims that lead to 29. DeRusso stepped on the line. A rare turnover for LaCrosse.
Only their fourth, I think. On
pretty good.
Tremendous. And you know, Marietta, you got to, like, how do you eat elephant, right? One bite at a time. They got to figure out, can I get 2 stops in a row? Can I get 3 stops in a row to get back into it? And then maybe the shots become a little less free for LaCrosse. But what a performance by LaCrosse offensively.
Pioneers back to work on the offensive end. Danny Flood uses the main screen. Works on Hannah, but can't shed him. Bounces it down low. DeRusso is right there to pick off that errant pass intended for Carden. Back the other way. Carter Thomas with a little shuffle in the lane.
I don't know. It looked almost. It was an almost turnover basket. We probably haven't credited LaCrosse defense. They've done a really nice job since that early spurt by Marietta, working hard in the post.
Jaden Bradshaw knifes his way down the baseline and finds an open Frank Wagenfeld for an easy 4-footer. 72-43. Wagenfeld now with 8. He's a pretty trim 280, isn't he?
He is.
Frank Wagenfeld, number 5 from Marietta. 6'8", 280. At least that's what they list him. I'm not sure. I don't know that it's 280 though. That doesn't look like a 280.
Yeah, that might have been
an offensive tackle.
That's either a typo or he's been really hitting the diet here lately.
Back into the game is Landry Pallada, number 14. Had a good first half from Marietta with 8 points off the bench.
And so you look, right, it's 2 post players against 1 post player right here. Now 32 will do some defending.
So Jim, if you're LaCrosse with 2 post players in there, how do you seize the vulnerability when you have the ball offensively as Pallada can't hit the shot, but Wagenfeld's right there. How do you take advantage of 2 big guys in the game when you have the ball on offense?
Well, they're going to spread you out, and they're going to make you come from a long distance, and they're going to look for a matchup. And I think they've been effective doing that. On this end, Marietta took advantage of just pounding the glass, right? And miss shot, lay in. The hard part in this, if this was 55-45, you'd say take 2 for 3. But now, like, you go 2 post players, you're going 2s. I don't know if you have enough possessions left. It's funny to say that at 13 minutes.
Yeah, this is the time where you ask yourself, okay, what is the number of points LaCrosse has to score to win? Are they there already? Or what do they need to add? They're up by 27 with 13 and a half to go. Good ball movement. Carter Thomas open from the right wing. Off the flange, battle for the boards.
Yeah.
Torrin Hanna has been everywhere. The 6'3" senior from Mount Horeb.
Well, they're getting out those light rebounds. I tell you, they have shooters with their toes at the line waiting for that kick out.
Krieger couldn't get it to go. Quickly back the other way. Hanna's right there for the defensive stop.
So another weird question you asked with 13 minutes to go. Both these teams have a highly ranked team they have to play tomorrow. I don't think this game's there yet, but it could quickly get there where you say, well, when do we wave the right flag? We have a tough matchup tomorrow.
Inbounds pass to a cutting Jaden Bradshaw. Good inbounds play underneath the basket. He lays it in. Bradshaw now with 15. He leads.
Watch Marietta will go
Pioneers.
a 15-0 run after I said something like that, and Marietta fans will be all over my case.
Piter works down low, drew contact. You'll get that on Carden. Couple shots coming now for J.J. Piter, 6'7" forward. Averages 4 assists a game and 11 rebounds a game to go along with his 16 points. 14 rebounds against North Park to open the season.
And I like to say they haven't needed him offensively today, but it's played a crucial role.
How about his 8 assists?
Yeah.
Good all-around player from Neenah, Wisconsin.
Do they have anybody not from Wisconsin on their team? I was going to.
Not many.
There's an Illinois down there.
Yeah, Chicagoland. A couple Chicagolands.
One of my favorite cities, Fond du Lac, represented there.
Because you like to go there, because you just like to say it?
No, I like to say it, but I had a college roommate who had family in Fond du Lac, so he always had a Fond du Lac High School basketball jersey. Very, very.
Good skip pass to Bradshaw, and then he.
Good rotation again by sinking to the level of the ball by LaCrosse.
Just when you think Bradshaw's been able to penetrate that defense, that rotation is there to intercept the ball. Piter, on a beautiful delivery to a cutting Carter Thomas.
Nice basketball player.
9 assists for J.J. Piter. On a run out, here's Carter Thomas. Lays it in.
Boy, Bob, if you've caught a lot of high school basketball games, the level of Division III basketball skill, I'm always amazed. I sit this close, and some really good players often get underrated in the recruiting process.
A lot of leaves for Price. Sam Grieger sends that one into the 5th row here at Calvin on that block shot. Immediate timeout, 78-47. Good time to tell you to deck the halls with trays of chicken. Chick-fil-A catering trays spread the merry for any family gathering, office party, or special event. From signature Chick-fil-A nugget trays, boxed originals chicken sandwich meals, or trays of special blend mac and cheese, Chick-fil-A is the perfect way to bring people together. Order through the Chick-fil-A app and receive rewards for any catering order. And for those coming to Calvin, the tournament, the Classic this weekend, the Invitational, be sure to visit Chick-fil-A just a mile south of Calvin's campus. Jim, it seems like over the years, college basketball has inched its way up the calendar just a little bit more every year, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on, back when you played,
this be opening weekend.
30 years ago, this would be about the time you'd start, and now it's week 3 already.
So I do like it for the student athlete, but it spreads the games out a little bit and travels. You're not playing a Friday, Saturday, a Wednesday, and a Friday, Saturday at the end of your semester. I like that for the student athlete. But if I could speak for my staff, the athletic trainers, the facility guys, the operations, right? Flipping over the arena from volleyball to basketball, and the crossover time, which all of us athletic directors talk about, the crossover time in the spring and the fall sports with winter. The longer that is, the more time consuming, because you could have a basketball game, a football game, and all on the same day. So we'll figure that out. I think it's better for the student athletes.
Frank Wagenfeld can't hit from the right point beyond the arc. Wagenfeld, an inside-outside player, but he's struggled from the 3 spot today. He's 5 for 9 coming into the game from downtown. Today, nothing in 3 attempts. J.J. Piter at the right elbow. Beautiful pass to a cutting Sam Grieger. Piter's size allows him to deliver the ball, doesn't it? 6'7", kind of lanky, almost a point forward.
He understands the game. It's beautiful to see a post player who can do that. Like, you start talking about basketball history. Bill Walton, who passed away here recently, considered one of the best big man passers. Now, I am not saying he's Bill Walton, but the ability to hit a cutter or a jump shot and see the floor with your back to the basket. It's very unusual. And so, boy, he's been fun to watch.
16 fouls now on Marietta. They're piling up. One more, and LaCrosse is in the bonus.
And I don't think LaCrosse, Marietta was even get to the bonus in the first half. So LaCrosse has been able to defend without fouling.
Just one team foul here in the second half on LaCrosse. Jaden Bradshaw to Ethan Han, who's now in the game for Marietta, 22. Wagenfeld will leave for Bradshaw. Eyed the three now. Takes it to the hole, and there's that foul on LaCrosse. Jaden Bradshaw go to the stripe. He's from Blanchester, Ohio. 5 points a game last year. So on a team that lost 4 of their top 5 scorers from last season's 17-10 squad, Jaden Bradshaw counted on to provide some offense this year. And he has been their leading scorer in this season. For those that just joined us, at one point, this was a 19-12 Marietta lead. Their last lead was 21-20, and then the ceiling caved in on the Pioneers.
With a bunch of three-pointers.
LaCrosse, 12 for 22 from downtown, 55% this year, or this day, shooting 61% from the field in general. Just their 5th turnover, so they've done that well too. They've taken care of the basketball.
Yeah, their assist-to-turnover ratio is big, or good.
Bradshaw has daylight on that right side and knocks down a triple.
Yeah, I believe he did.
And then forces a travel.
I asked, could they get 2 to 3 stops in a row? This would be the 3rd stop right here.
I don't know, Jim. That elephant's getting bigger. As the clock ticks.
Oh, I'm trying to keep everybody with us.
Inbound to Bradshaw. Uses the Pilata screen. Short on the triple try. And Krieger comes away with it.
Yeah, the number of possessions and
Lerman finds Piter underneath. Goes right up for it and draws the foul. It was 56-33 at the half. Did you happen to check with Jeff Phoebus on the offensive output? He is the sports information director here at Calvin and a walking encyclopedia of everything Calvin basketball. And the question was 56 points in one half and 10 threes. Have we seen that output in this building?
We've been up to over 120. I think you'd have to. I think in the 20s was the number of threes.
Thank you, brother. I'll talk to you in a few minutes.
Piter empty on those two, and then on the rebound.
Oh, he's going to get a foul here.
Bradshaw was fouled.
So if you're LaCrosse, one of the things you're thinking about is, hey, if I can play a 3 or 4 minute stretch here, clean, no fouls, no turnovers, I can start reeling this one in and start making adjustments for tomorrow. But the last 2 or 3 minutes have been a little bit.
Bradshaw, right wing. Back to Maine, who leaves for Price on a left side 3. That's short. Karam comes back to the Pioneers, and Jack Main's got it to the low left post. Spins and can't hit over DeRusso. Eagles control. Five of the 8 teams in the field are in the preseason top 20, top 25.
I don't think LaCrosse was one of those, was it?
They were not.
They've been pretty impressive today.
Right wing 3 from Hanna, short. There's Piter again with the rebound. Threw it away though to Price and out ahead to Bradshaw. He beats the field for the dunk. Jaden Bradshaw, 6'4", 190-pounder. Rises up for that flush.
Marietta, this could build momentum for tomorrow if you can play.
Yeah, it's Piter with a good baseline drive, reverse layup, falls through. J.J. Piter, 6'7" junior, averaged 9 a game last year. He has been impressive this afternoon. Don't forget, stay with us after this game. We'll take a short break and be right back with you for the matchup between Hope College here in Holland against St. John's from Minnesota. Piter completes the three-point play and leads back to 28.
St. John's, I don't know, right after like 21 national tournament, we had St. John's at 26-4, and Coach Saul, one of his first tournament teams, went up there and beat them at Wisconsin-Platteville, and then turned around and beat Platteville, who's top 5 in the country. So St. John's, a perennial tournament team. I think they're a little bit rebuilding as well.
Price walled off on the right block, so kicks it out to Bradshaw. Impressive looking triple from the outside. And what's the basket counted, right? Triple, got it. I'm not sure what the whistle was for, though.
That was a technical foul, but we would be shooting that.
Yeah.
They were saying, the Marietta bench was saying that there was somebody in the stands, so I don't know what they were referring to.
Grieger finds Lumen. And Jim, on that play, what a great job by DeRusso on the down screen to wall off the defender, preventing him from getting to the open shooter, Furman.
Then it just turns into a shooting drill.
Singleton answers with his three ball from the left wing.
LaCrosse has had an answer to any adjustment.
Ryan McGill gets into the action. Check that, Max Siebert. Max Siebert hits a three. There's a 20% field goal shooter coming into this game. That's indicative of how it's going. They're at 88 points with 7 minutes to go.
Yeah.
Wagenfeld, good strong move down low. Couldn't get it to drop. Max Siebert controls. Inside of 7 minutes. Left wing, Furman kicks to Krieger. High, arcing three, wouldn't go. Maine with a good kick out to Bradshaw. Well, he can shoot. Jaden Bradshaw with another three-pointer.
Early in the season, both coaches are going to keep working. You know, this is not you'll see some subs coming in here, but boy, it has become a three-point fest here.
28 points for Jaden Bradshaw. He leads all scorers. He would trade that though for a different score. Can't hit that three-point try, and controlling the boards is Torrin Hanna. DeRusso probes, kicks to Krieger in the corner, to McGill, who tries to find Furman underneath.
That was,
Price on the move, wheels it out of bounds, intended for Singleton. And that brings us to immediate timeout with 5:43 to go, 88-43. LaCrosse comfortably in control. If you're coming to Grand Rapids, Michigan for a Calvin home game, Calvin event, or perhaps even still catching this tournament tonight and tomorrow, your home for accommodations is the Hilton Garden Inn, less than 1 mile south of Calvin's campus. While you're there, catch all the games on the big screens and Big E's Sports Grill. That's the Hilton Garden Inn and Big E's Sports Grill just down the road from Calvin University. Today's second half brought to you in part by Skipper and Ostrink Wealth Management, providing personal financial strategies tailored to your goals and lifestyles.
Well, it's Feast Week on ESPN, so a lot of these tournaments going on. In Division I down in Charleston, and watched a little bit of Vanderbilt versus Nevada and Steve Alford last night. A really good game, and it's a great time of year with the crossover with the football, as you see, reaches apex. Rivalry games coming down the line. Big matchup in Columbus tomorrow, and playoff football at the lower divisions, high school football, and then, of course, a little Thanksgiving break where you can take it all in.
Indeed, it is a true feast for the sports fan. Speaking of college basketball, Michigan has a player on their team who has a brother, Jim, that is on the St. John's team that we'll see next.
Who is that?
I'll quiz you here. Now your Michigan basketball. He's from Minnesota, right?
Was it
one player on the
May?
Michigan basketball team.
Is it not Dusty May's the coach? The kid from Yale. Is that
Danny Wolf? No. Will Cheddar.
Yes.
Will Cheddar, his little brother, is on the St. John's team that we'll see here in this next game.
Will Cheddar, one of the few holdovers, and boy, Dusty May has brought a little bit of life back to that program, and we got a long way to go. I saw the other day on ESPN one talking about them as the second best team in the Big Ten, and I don't know if that says a lot about the Big Ten. No dispersion for any of those programs, but I think college basketball too is going through a transition. How do you start 5 transfers, right? And it's just crazy.
11 of 14 players new on that Michigan team, and that's not that uncommon.
No. So not taking too much out of the early season, you're trying to get yourself ready for January and your conference season.
Back here in Grand Rapids, it's 88-63. Wisconsin-LaCrosse has controlled this one since midway through the first half. Great balanced scoring effort has propelled the Eagles to a convincing lead. They've moved the ball so well. Will Furman gets a step, has it knocked away, but recovers, and they pitch it around the horn for Piter. I don't know that that's his forte of offense. He is the catch and shoot is not necessarily where he brings the strength to the lacrosse team. He's done it in so many other ways today.
Just happened to have the hot potato at the end.
Topside of Hayden Jarrett now into the game, the Zanesville, Ohio sophomore in there for Marietta. Pretty clean game turnover-wise. That's only the 12th turnover for Marietta. 6 for LaCrosse. Dustin DeRusso leading a balanced scoring attack for LaCrosse. He's got 18, Carter Thomas with 16, Sam Grieger with 14. Step back, mid-range jumper by Jake Singleton will not go. Jake Singleton, rather. Rims out. On the move is Grieger. Drew contact from Darius Carton. LaCrosse doesn't strike me as a team, Jim, with a really bona fide point guard, the prototypical point guard. Yet they really move the ball and control their offensive pace the way they've liked here.
It's really interesting. Basketball, we've talked about positionless basketball, and I'm a former point guard. Your daughter was a really nice point guard for South Christian Cornerstone, but the game has evolved in the situation that anybody takes a rebound and goes with it, and then teams also look for their best matchup to bring the ball down the court. Calvin used Marcus Bolt, who was our 4-man last year, a lot of times against pressure. John Carroll, you're going to see John Carroll does a lot with pressure. We took our 4-man. We thought, well, he can bring it up against their 4-man, which is so foreign for us longtime basketball fans. And it also gets your shooter like he plays off the ball a little bit.
Yeah, it is a changed game as Wagenfeld knocks down triple.
So his argument is LeBron James a point guard? I think he's more of a point guard than he's a power forward, but he controls the ball, right? He controls the pace on offense. So I don't care what you list him at.
Inside of 4, good back cut again, and on the floor, Dustin DeRusso
Still gonna be
corrals that
2
pass
shots.
from Piter, and he'll shoot 2. Double bonus now for LaCrosse, just inside of 4 minutes. And media timeout.
Last one.
Another chance for you to get to know the tournament host, Calvin University. The Calvin Women's Sports Report is presented by Lake Michigan Credit Union. Tell you about the Calvin women's soccer team under the direction of Emily Ottenhoff. We're ranked as high as 16th in the country this year. Captured their 5th consecutive MIAA regional regular season crown. Went on to win the tournament as well. And had a tournament game that they won against Greenville before having their season come to an end at the hands of Chicago. Great year for the women's soccer program as Calvin hosted NCAA regional last week.
Yeah, they did a
Calvin.
tremendous job since Emily has come back to her alma mater and really turned that program around. Had an unfortunate late season injury to 2-time MVP Lucy Iverson. She'll be back next year. Had a lot of upperclassmen on the offensive end. They had a goal with 11 seconds to go in that half of the game they lost to Chicago. And kind of, I wouldn't say a fluke goal, great strike, but you don't see it a lot. And they just couldn't chase those 2 goals down in the second half. But another wonderful year by Calvin women's soccer. And men's soccer, too, made the national tournament after winning the automatic qualifying tournament.
Don't forget, right after this game, we'll take a 25-minute break. Is that right? 25 minutes before the Hope St. John game. St. John's and the Johnnies and the Dutchmen going at it, 3 o'clock, thereabouts. 5:30, John Carroll meets Johns Hopkins. And at 7:30, it is Emory visiting the host school, Calvin Knights. (92-66) after a pair of free throws by DeRusso. Into the game now. Again, Hayden Jarrett, number 23, the sophomore, also in for Marietta. Ryan McGill had some action in the first half. He's got it at the top of the key and will let fly a 3-pointer. It swishes home with 3.5 to go. Many of the starters still in for both teams. Piter on the missed shot by Grieger, couldn't hit the foul.
And I think for Marietta, sometimes you're looking for different folks in that, losing 4 starters from last year.
Pilata with that offensive rebound. Jim, he was pretty active in the first half, but here in the second half, he has been very quiet.
It's like you're trying to chase 2-pointers in a 3-point world when you're down, almost 20, 25, 26.
He had 12 at the break, has 15 now. But he was an offensive answer there for Marietta. Points in that first half. Carter Thomas off the skip pass on a beautiful delivery from Sam Krieger.
I think that will clear him off for LaCrosse.
95-69. Singleton lets fly from the left point. That goes, and it's another bucket for Jake Singleton. The junior from Senecaville. Krieger works the left side, guns it right corner to Furman. Pass to Piter all the way to the hole, lays it in. Boy, that is his game underneath, his game in the lane.
Yep.
Both scoring and passing has been impressive.
Yeah, passing.
All right, we didn't have this in the script, Jim, but with 1:46 to go, give me your couple of guys as players of the game today. And there's no trophy at stake. There's no gift certificates. It's just simply the recognition from Jim Timmer.
Well, I think on the Marietta and Bradshaw has been pretty impressive. I don't know how many.
28.
28 today. I think for it's going to sound funny on a team that made a bunch of 3-pointers. Piter's been really impressive, controlling the offense and probably double figures assists and rebounds, having to battle 2 posts for Marietta. Now, having said that, boy, it's been a 3-point fest.
Piter, by the way, in 29 minutes, just 8 points, but 8 rebounds and 9 assists. So a really good floor game from J.J.
You don't
Piter.
see triple doubles. And having said that, DeRusso was great. He got him going. Got him going. Tip dunk late first half.
Grieger had it sort of the middle of the second half that really sparked this team as well. And again, very balanced scoring. Carter Thomas with a quiet 19.
Quiet. Look, when you score 97, it's really balanced. And honestly, the score is probably going to end up a little closer than it actually was. I mean, they've been led by mostly 30, 32 here in the second half.
They're up 23 at the break, and have really maintained that. It's never dropped below 20. At one time, it swelled to 31. So it's been a solid effort by this lacrosse team the entire game.
And they won't have much rest. They will take a shower and start scouting the team they play tomorrow. I'm sure they've done some that, and they got a.
They'll meet Johns Hopkins tomorrow at 3 o'clock. These Marietta Pioneers will battle Hope tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Put back for that bucket by Chris Green. McGill from the left corner, no.
That should
Shot
be
clock
it.
turned off, and that's the way this one is going to end. A point shy of 100. So if we were giving out free hamburgers for 100, the Eagles fans
would be disappointed.
Northern Wisconsin would be extremely disappointed. But an impressive win today for
the head coach.
For lacrosse. Hope to get a quick word with JT Gritzmacher after this one is over.
Well, game one's in the book. Didn't expect that in these games. I thought would all be close, but you never know. And a team gets hot like lacrosse did. It was quite impressive. We'll see.
Yep,
If
56% shooting percentage, 50% from threes will do it. Try to get JT Gritz.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah.
All right, we'll take a quick break here. Let's go over the scoring for lacrosse. 20 points for Dustin DeRusso, 16 for Sam Grieger, 19 for Carter Thomas, 12 for Torrin Hanna, 12 for Will Furman. Jim, they put 5 players in double figures. Just a really balanced effort by lacrosse. For Marietta, just 2 guys in double figures. Jaden Bradshaw with 28 and Frank Wagenveld with 15. Those are the 2 in double figures. Some of the team stats today. Again, 56% from the field for lacrosse compared to 43. Actually, Marietta had 9 more shots, but it didn't matter today. 3-pointers, 13 for 30 for Marietta, 15 for 30. So both teams not shy about gunning it from behind the arc. Rebounding close, 34 to 31. Turnovers, pretty well played game. 13 for Marietta, 10 for lacrosse. How about this off the bench? Lacrosse gets 38 points, just 14 for Marietta.
Yeah, I think you described it pretty accurately. The shots, 15 of 30 and 13 of 30, but what actually ends up being the difference is the efficiency of lacrosse shooting 2-pointers and not turning it over. And I think at the end of the day, we'll see what coach says, that the balance. They spread the floor, and there was not one person, certainly that a lot of people stood out, but that's that balance. Jaden Bradshaw for Marietta in a losing effort, quite a stat line there, 10 for 19 and 6 for 11.
Yeah, so it's not a bad effort. Just need more help.
And that's turning over starters. It'll be interesting how these teams both respond tomorrow as we see St. John's and Hope take the floor. And I think their coach is coming out to see us. Hoping
to get a word with JT Gritzmacher from LaCrosse. As we get ready for Hope and St. John's coming up shortly. Let's get your quick thoughts on Hope. For those who don't know, and most of those watching D3 basketball should know, that pretty good rivalry between Hope and Calvin. So not surprising that Jim Timmer, the director of athletics here at Calvin, would know a little bit about this 2024-5 edition of Hope College. Your impressions on Hope as they take the floor for this Game 2 warm-up?
Well, they have a lot of people back from a really, really good team last year. The MIAA had tried the national championship. Here's Coach right here, so we'll get back to that.
Happy to be joined here on the post-game show by JT Gritzmacher in his second season. And I got to ask you about the middle of the first half. It was 19-12. Marietta was ahead. They seemingly had the high-low game going pretty well with Wagenfeld and then Pilata. All of a sudden, you changed that. What happened midway through that second half?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was all week we kind of talked about we think they're a really good team and they're gonna make some runs. They're gonna punch us in the mouth. How do we respond? And I think early in the game, they kind of took it to us down low. We had to make a couple adjustments defensively. We kind of helped off a couple guys a little more, and we paid for it with, I think, 2 hit a 3 on us. But we knew that if we could keep him in front and kind of take away number 5 and 14, we'd be in a good spot. And I mean, we couldn't guard for the first 7 minutes of the game, but the rest of the way, I think we did a pretty good job.
Coach, you had great balance on the offensive end. 6 players in double figures. Who emerged for you today with a really impressive show that perhaps you didn't expect they would deliver like they did?
I mean, shoot, the biggest thing is we finally shot the ball. I think I've been telling people all year that I think we can score it. And then the first 3 games, I don't know if we made double digits threes one time. But Torrin Hanna was unreal for us. Carter Thomas off the bench. And then just like Sam Grieger had a really good night, Dusty. And J.J. Piter's been our leading scorer all year, and he had 8 points, and he just did what he needed to do. I mean, he had 8 points, 8 rebounds, and 9 assists. I mean, shoot. I can't ask much more of him for doing that.
Not at all. Well, congratulations. Yeah. Enjoy your weekend in Grand
Appreciate
Rapids.
It. I appreciate
great job.
Yep, thank you. Thank you.
JT Gritzmacher, the head basketball coach at Wisconsin LaCrosse, after a convincing win over Marietta today, 99-77. That'll wrap it up for this first game. We'll take a break. Join you back in about 20 minutes or so when we get ready for Hope and St. John's coming up here on the Calvin Sports Network. Game 2 of the Great Lakes Invitational just around the corner.